Testing, testing. Hello. Can anybody hear me? It says I'm live, but is that really the case? Streaming live. I don't see that though. Hello. There we go. Oh, I'm glad it works now. Okay, so part 3 of this little mini series that I was working on building a custom real highway interchange. I'm leaving you now with the finished product in its kind of bare bones form. While I was gone, I did a little bit more tweaking with the junction and put in like some of the outer ramps and stuff here. So, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of detail to go into other than talking about this junction. So, in part 2, I think I talked about, I kind of had a road going this way and had the ramp break out and kind of come this way. But that, to me, made the junction so large that it's pretty unrealistic. I mean, it's almost unrealistic as how it is now. So what I did is I decided to, I think taper is the best word, to taper the ramp to kind of have it come under the overpass. That way I can immediately curve the RHW 4 here, and it kind of meets up over here. So this kind of slips under to join up with the main line. Well, this kind of goes right over, and this kept it from being exceedingly large because before it was like the curve started like way up here because I needed room for the acceleration lane, and then the brake, and then the curve, and then the descent. So all that's done, and it makes it a much smaller profile. And plus, I had a whole bunch of vacant land here anyway. So I just decided to say, hey, this would be a great spot to put, something that didn't quite fit on the outside on the inside. That way it didn't take up any more room. So I did that. Again, left exit, but based on the junction that I was posting, that I was basing, or best word probably to say is inspire. The best junction that I was using to inspire this design, had similar bends. I'm just bringing it up now, just looking it up. So you kind of had a bend on the inside here. They kind of fly over, like with the 3-level kind of thing right here. That's not really too possible within the current build of the real highway mod. You'd have to make a tunnel and stuff, and it just wouldn't work quite well. If you go to satellite mode, right, it's like bridge upon bridge. And then these also meet like in a left setup. Like this is the main line here, but it actually kind of merges onto the ramp. And so that's something that I did that I did want to avoid, if possible, in SimCity, and I did that. Now I don't have the ramp flying over, because before the ramp kind of paralleled this ramp here, kind of went up and then around. But now I just have it meet up on the right, just like a standard off-ramp. It's 2-lane off-ramp, on-ramp. But yeah, that's how it is. On this side, I kind of filled in this this ramp here. I also made kind of a smooth curve here and descent before I kind of had it all built kind of like the standard transitions. But I had room to work with, so I said I may as well just kind of have it descend in a nice way. It also made the footprint smaller, believe it or not, because before I had to put in the transition and then the curve. But here I just need to put in the curve. I didn't make it curve right at the ramp, right where the elevated part of the ramp came off, because I have this transition here that doesn't really let me put a ramp until right here. So this is actually the closest spot I could put it. So I had room to work with, so I said, may as well make it look nice, if the opportunity is there. because I didn't want to turn this into a couple lane shifts and just look a little funny, and all that to save one pixel of space here, or one tile of space. It's not really worth it. Over here, just gonna have the lane break to get to the outer ramp, so you kind of it breaks into two. This is the main line, of course. This is the left exit that I normally detest. But anyways, it breaks, and then it breaks again to have the right turn ramp. Kind of merges it on the main line. A little fractional avenue action before the lane ends here, because you can't really have a lane end piece within the fractional angle Real Highway 6. It works for the Real Highway 4. You can have a transition to MIS, to the MIS ramp, but not here. So it kind of just comes up here, and then they kind of merge together. And kind of the same thing on this side. You have the outer ramp join up with the this isn't really a ramp, but it's not a main line. It's just basically the connecting route. So they merge, and then they kind of come together in the fractional angle and meet up with this road here, which is actually a left exit. So just remember, right? This isn't two routes, making a connection like a standard interchange. This is one route here. It continues here. It's like a 90-degree curve through the junction. This is another route here that kind of commingles with this route for a small duration, so it kind of just goes straight through. And then up here is an entirely new route. So that's why there's no real direct connections from north to south. In order to go north to south, you have to actually exit off the main route, because it's not even a main route. So you could call it a left exit if you were to stay on, but it's not, because staying on keeps you on the main route, with the exception of this side, of course. But again, nothing I could do. So part 3 is basically just giving you a bit of a tour and any kind of tweaks. Will this be the last part? Yes, I think this is going to be the last part in the series. I don't want to drag it out too long. I think the other ones are like half an hour long. And this part's mostly me talking about the finished junction. So basically, all I really need to do now is make any final decisions on what I need to do to tweak it to make it any smaller. But I think I've exhausted all possibilities in my mind on how to make it smaller or more realistic or anything like that. I really wish there was smooth curves for the elevated RHW 4 thing. There are for the MIS, it's the FlexFly, but here I need a 2-lane connection, so definitely be something useful to have in a later release. But I won't tell you if that's coming, because I think that information is classified by the NAM team and stuff, and I can't really give that information unless A, I request it, and B, it's approved by the rest of the team. So I'm not going to confirm or deny anything there. So basically, when I have the raw interchange done in its more or less complete form, I get to decorating it. I kind of go in three steps. Number one is signs. Number 2 is lighting, and then number 3 is kind of grass or beautification or cosmetic methods. So in this junction here, I'm going to have a lot of hazard signs, right? Curve right lane ends and stuff, because there's a curve here and a curve there and stuff. So I got to make sure I have enough room for that. And then these open areas in the center, I could probably put like, a pond or some kind of, nice feature that isn't just open grass area or trees. Like this is an area that you can kind of decorate, and motorists on like the top overpasses can kind of see it as they look down. It's a nice area. This might do for something, but this will definitely be a good spot. This loop ramp is a little chaotic because of the sloping issues, kind of this. So this is basically like the center of the interchange, and then to be a nice open area. And the actual junction itself, as you can see, there's really not a whole lot of beautification done, and this is a nice big open area, right? You could probably put a nice pond or static features, but instead it's just a bunch of trees and dirt. Nothing. It's pretty bleak. And a lot of other junctions nearby are nicely decorated, so it's kind of a bummer. It says, "Will you beautify it?" Yes, as I just said, I'm going to be beautifying it uh, to make it look nice, kind of like with my other junctions that I've done. I mostly have, a line of grass on each side as like kind of a right of way if I ever need to either widen or reconstruct the route for some reason. And then the second tile over is normally trees or beautification or whatever. And then signage and lighting are kind of all within uh, those confines. So let's start off with the hazard signs because this is probably the first thing that I want to do. Just gotta scroll up and down. I got way too many plugins here, so let's put in the curve signs. I like using absolutely massive signs because they're very easy to see. Like that sign, if it were to exist in real life, would be like 3 meters big, 3 meters high, 5 meters. I don't know, but it looks nice in SimCity, and also big signs give a big indicator to motorists, that something's up. And kind of put the same over on this side, but there's not really much room for it, so maybe like a diagonal sign here would be good, just saying, there's another curve coming. I mostly pay attention to the hazard signs and things like that, looking straight on. Like if there's something on an angle like this on this side, and I want to put like in a curve like that, I'm not going to pay as much attention to that because you can't even see it. As long as there's a sign there or something, it works. I don't normally rotate the board. So that's basically it for the main thing. I could probably put a curve in here saying, turn. I'll put that in for now because it's kind of a steep turn, right? This isn't fractional angle. This is a full diagonal curve. Up here, I guess it's pretty straight. Not really much else. I thought there'd be a lot more. I guess I can put one in here. Although it's pretty far away from the ramp itself, and everybody knows it's a loop. I guess I can throw one here. Put a couple tiles back so people have room to prepare. Again, here it's better to put it here because I'm going to have signs and stuff. This isn't really needed. I guess it's really less than I thought. Maybe put a sign here. Just kind of scroll around and find out where you want to put stuff. For fractional angle, putting in a curve sign is really not needed because the curve is so gradual that you don't need to pay special attention to it. Yeah, maybe throw a curve sign here. Again, right? I'm not looking straight at this, so I don't really care. It's probably better over here. I don't really care about it as much. Still having it there is kind of good. And also, some of these curve signs, at least the stuff that I have, some will come without a grass base, and some come with a grass base, like this one. So you gotta weigh the pros and the cons because the rest of this. Rest of these tiles along the real highway will all be open grass, right? So having open grass signs is definitely preferable. Speaking about that, I'll put in some of these signs right now. I would prefer to have these signs kind of overhang so I can kind of just throw it like right here, right where the lane enters, but I can't. Those involve type 21 lots or overhang lots, which there are some, but they're mostly signs and stuff. So this is basically very far away telling you that there's a lane going to be joining, and that doesn't happen until up here. But it's the thought that counts, and motorists now know. Whereas in this area, it works a lot better. Hang on, somebody's talking to me. Thup. What's up? I'm streaming. Facebook messaging. My MSN has been compromised. Some hacker got into my account. Been trying to send a password reset for a while, but still no luck. Still no luck with that. I'm streaming, he says, nice, yay. Basically, it means leave me alone. Sometimes I don't even respond to those messages. Yeah, I guess there's a lane entering here, so I'll put that in. Same here, and same here. This is like lane entering and then lane entering again. Kind of tired, so I don't know how much more I'll do. But this will definitely be the last video. You don't want to see me, plopping grass area after grass area after grass area, and then forest and stuff. So, for hazard signs, I think that's pretty much got everything covered. I got this side, and I got that side, this side, that side, curves. All right, let's move on to the directional or overhead signs. So people need to see, where they're going. So the first one is basically the main split. So you just got to find out which one you want. That's the one, because I'm using the RHW 8. And the cool thing about these ones is, at least for the GTR sign pack, there's 2 to choose from. There's like that style, and there's also, scrolling further down, this style. So you can kind of mix and match, makes it look a little bit more, authentic by having, 2 different types of sign styles. Kind of just throwing the same on this side. But again, on this side, I don't really care what the sign says as long as it's there, so I can have 2 of the same. Because, what do I care? I can't see it. Some people on, some sites and some people are really passionate about the exact dimensions and significance of the sign and what it says and how big it is. I prefer if you can read it. Like, I would much rather have a 5 meter by 5 meter sign that says curve rather than like a little tiny thing. I don't know if I have some really tiny signs. The GTR sign pack was also made to be readable. This is the closest zoom, and I mean it still is readable, but I still think that the text could be increased a little bit so it's more legible. But some of the new modders and some of the more experienced modders come up with signs that it's just blobs of pixels. And I mean, it is realistic based on a sign that you see in real life, but you can't make out what it says in SimCity 4, and that just takes away everything from me. Like, you can be true to realism, but you have to be respectful of what you can do in the game. I mean, after all, it is a game. But again, I'm rambling a little bit, so... Oh, I missed a spot for those hazard signs. It's not too far away on my parks menu, which is a couple thousand pages long. There it is. There, lane enters, so that's good. And just get a couple more signs. Whatever looks good, right? I don't really care exactly where it goes. It's going to have like a 3-lane sign here saying, there's 3 lanes here. Woohoo. Isn't that a good amount of information? That's not going to work because it's on a hill. This sign pack, again, was made for, I think, like RHW 3.0, like 2 versions before. So that was back in the day when Real Highway 6 was 2 tiles in size. Nowadays it's been compressed to one tile overhangs a bit, so I can't get this sign in unless like I have it sloped way over here. It's thinking like this pixel here is part of the highway, which it clearly isn't. But I also made kind of a mistake having that overhang a bit, so I actually have to draw this out. Or else there's like a piece of asphalt that's like not even existing. It's like 2D on 3D. Just by dragging it like that, that makes it there's actual land below. And then on this hill, I can put this in, and it works. Ta-da! And so that basically tells you that I'm not finished with the junction. As long, as much as it may look done in its core form, there's still work to be done. So what did I want here? Oh, yeah, I wanted a diagonal sign. One little spot I can fit. And it might be nice just to put it on the other side too, just for some uniformity. I like how it just barely fits under the overpass, so it it works. I can put it here, but nobody would even see it. I can expand this to kind of go that way so you can see both sides. But whatever. Then you can put in speed signs and stuff, so I'll get to that a little bit later. And then just a standard RHW4 sign. Where is it? LRHW4. I could probably put these in some areas where there's an elevated spot, like right there, right there. Well, they don't look quite good with the curved part, so I'll remove them. But it will look good in an area where like there's no curve, right? Fits right on top. And then these are 3 lanes, and the 3 lanes don't exist for the sign pack that I have. Again, the elevated Real Highway 6 is a newer network. It looks nice there. I don't really think I can apply it anywhere else. And then for this sign, there's a couple other elevated overhanging spots. Left exit. Oh yeah, these ones just kind of hang off to the side. So it's kind of nice to put it there or here. I guess not quite there. But here is good. Telling you that there's an exit, but it just kind of goes so high over the road. That's a good spot. You can see that driving down saying, hey, this lane exits. I'm still trying to find just the basic sign, though. That's it. No, that's elevated again. There it is. Just the basic Real Highway 4 direction sign. Put it in a spot where there's an otherwise boring appearance, so you had something to look at. And then in more important areas like this, where you need lots of signs. Wherever works. I probably use this sign type more than anything else. I guess that's a little redundant because I have one here. If I put that a little closer, yeah, about there, and then those 6, so this is 6C. I don't have any C networks in this design. I want the RHW 6, 10, 4, 6C, 8. There it is, 6S. 6S back in the day was separable, or C was compressed, but nowadays it doesn't really matter. I just call it RHW 6. And the RHW6C is, what does it stand for now? Is it still compressed or is it consolidated? Because it's like all together in one network. Because it's funny how the RHW6C is 3 tiles, but the RHW6 itself is only 2. But back in the day, it was 4, so the 6C actually meant compressed, and that things actually were smaller using the compressed networks or the C networks. I gotta build a couple more signs here. I'm scrolling way too far down though. So on this angle, you can barely see the sign, so that's enough. That's enough basis for me to kind of treat them right. Saying, okay, I want a different style of sign up here, because you can actually kind of see the difference. Again, not a massive thing, but enough to get me to do the work that's needed. That's kind of redundant. And then the MIS, you can use like kind of the overhanging parts or just curve signs. I don't really need much of an indicator here, since it's just a ramp anyway. So it joins, I don't know, throw a sign here saying these 2 lanes continue, and kind of have an overall sign. Where is it? RHW 8. Yeah, there we go. Just have one on that side, just saying all 8 lanes continue. So I'll put one of these on each side. Oh, I lost a whole bunch of viewers on Twitch TV. Is it just too late, or is this too boring? Guess it is kind of boring work. So I'll probably call it a part soon. Then these, again, at least with my sign pack, right, it didn't really exist for the RHW10 other than the general overhead sign. So I'll probably throw in one of these here. And on this side, just kind of have like the overhanging lots. The overhang pieces are these, right? They just kind of stay over a little bit. Then maybe just have a sign here. Yeah, that's good. So that's pretty much all the signs. For lane ending, I really don't need a whole lot because each lane ends. So I'll probably just throw these in and then call it a part. Because I'm pretty much done the signage work with that. Aha, lane ends. And I'll just put it here. There's a good spot. That kind of goes right on the edge of the shoulder. That's a good enough distance. And then put one right at the end here, saying that it ends. Again, just kind of right when it enters, and then right when the lane ends. Where else does the lane end? Over here. I think there's like one on each side. And about there. Just 4 of them. Yeah, one on each side. Lane ends, lane ends, lane ends, and lane ends is over here. It's in the center part. Oops, I just plopped a whole bunch of them over here. So that pretty much concludes the part 3 of 3. You can kind of see the interchange complete in its basic form. I don't really want to do a part 4. This would be pretty boring of me just adding grasses, parks, and lights and stuff. So stay tuned, though. You'll see a UDI highway interchange video about this. I think it'll be like number 7 or number 8 in the series. I started making them in like May 2008 on each like big major junction that I could do the UDI stuff on. So I hope you listened. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk. Sorry if I've been stuttering a little bit. It's a little late and I've had a couple martinis. It was seeing a play and then went off with some friends and I'm like, oh, it's late at night, but I felt that it was worth the stream, so I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is the junction that I base it on. So that'll be in the description saying, that it was actually inspired by a junction in the good old city of Burlington. Keep zooming out. You can kind of see where it is at the edge of Lake Ontario. And then, whoa, it's in the world. Good old Google Maps. What do we do without this thing? It's hard to remember. We actually had to open up like a real road map. Those companies have been going out of business. Anyways, I'm rambling, guys, so I will give this a save and quit. And I will say so long. Have a good